What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I am joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Choops, how we doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you? I am stuffed up a little bit, but I'm going to continue to power through. Hopefully, again, I don't sound terrible, but we'll get through it. I'm going to hit that mute button pretty hard today.
That's good. You actually sound a hell of a lot yesterday, so it is a step in the right direction. Had to get you warmed up a little bit. Hey, that's okay. We are not alone this week. We are joined by who I think is truly a nomad in professional wrestling. Has wrestled all over the United States, Central and South America, Mexico. Where has this guy been? Most recently, he performed at GCW WrestleCade this past weekend. So please, everybody, welcome back Bobby Flaco to the show. Bobby, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm chilling. I'm just having fun, man. How are y'all?
Great. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, as always, it's good to chat with you and catch up with you. This is one of those lazy episodes today. Every once in a while, Chris and I just kind of go at things without a net and talking about the biggest stories in wrestling right now. Since this guy returned to WWE a few days ago, that's kind of all that everybody has been talking about, and it's not really fair to the land of the elite. So we're going to shift our attention over there a little bit and just get into, again, some of the major headlines. But as always, welcome to our channel. Share, subscribe, help us to get the numbers up. I don't really know where we should start here. Something that I'm seeing here, just a little bit of good news off camera. Choops and I were talking about how Alexa Bliss has had her baby. It's also been announced that Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara had their girl as well. So congratulations to them. Just a little, lighthearted news and podcast that. Any advice to the new parents?
Run. That's what I would say. Run. It's not easy. I think they have a little bit more money than I do, so they could probably afford somebody like a night nurse or something where they're not up at 2 a.m. with my son last night and doing all that fun stuff. So fair. Yes, that's fair. It's hard, it's challenging, it's rewarding, but hire that night nurse, guys.
Fair. Like I said, we want to start off with a little bit of good news. I mean, there's a little bit of everything to talk about here, but this is a big one that Chris wanted to talk about today. MJF posted and then deleted on X that he had an MRI, tore his labrum at Full Gear, still intends to wrestle at World's End. Man, Max beat himself the hell up at Full Gear, didn't he?
Yeah, and it seems like he came back in the ambulance and might have left in another one for a real reason. Yeah, that's a tough blow for AEW. It seems like he's going to try to work through it. We'll see. Like, hopefully, I think he's hoping it doesn't need surgery. So that would be a plus that maybe he can work just a lighter schedule and work through it. But that would be a major blow if it is surgery and he's on the shelf for a while, because that's both of your main eventers that were in your main storyline kind of gone. And that would not be good. I think you want to at least try to keep a presence with MJF on TV, but yeah, I don't. It's a hairy situation, and one Tony Khan's going to have to navigate. Going to be his first real big challenge, minus the CM Punk fiasco, but kind of his first real big, oh crap, my main event scene just got blown up.
Yeah, seriously. Bob, I want to ask you about this, just because, you've wrestled all over. I don't know if we've ever really talked about this, but, we're hearing torn labrum from MJF, had his hip pop back into socket after Full Gear as well. Just from in your experience, what's been one of the tougher injuries that you've had to come back from in your career, and kind of what's going through, what do you think is going through his mind right now, trying to stay on the road?
Well, if I'm MJF, the perspective is a little bit different. I think injuries are so hard. Who's that? Sorry, I'm grabbing my dogs. I think injuries are so hard in professional wrestling because doctors don't understand professional wrestling. And that can go to I'm sure MJF's doctor does, but fucking my doctor wouldn't understand professional wrestling because of the weird amount of real and fake that it is. You know what I mean? They can't treat us like a boxer because the treatments that a boxer or an MMA fighter Chill out. That way. I think the treatment that a boxer or an MMA fighter would be. I don't know. Shut up. Sorry, girl. I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say it's not as serious with professional wrestling, but I feel like wrestlers get sold a lot. Chula, come here, girl. Sorry. I feel like professional wrestlers get sold a lot of crazy like surgeries and like other bullshit when like I don't want to sound like one of those hippie guys, but like your body does heal itself a lot. Like I haven't had no significant injuries. I know I got like one of my L's in my knee. Chula. One of my L's, like the MCLs and the LCLs or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know I really damaged one of those. And to be fair, it's not going to be the same. And I probably couldn't run a marathon or have an MMA fight, but I wrestle every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's like a weird perspective, and it's probably a bad one. But like, yeah, like I got a guy who like, I know I got friends who just get like sold on surgeries, and like surgeries suck, dude. I had them in high school when I was a high school wrestler, which is fucking hard on the body. And like my shoulders are both like still fucked up. Maybe I could have done, I did physical therapy or whatever. Maybe I could have done it better. But I just seen so many cases of people like getting crazy surgeries, and it only gets worse and worse after that. True that. That's fucking bad, dude. You know what I mean? And this is like I watch a lot of motocross stuff too, and that's a whole nother like, they got a lot of theories on like all these braces and like the shoulder braces and like, oh dude, I could go on and on for days about that. But MJ, at that level, with that type of money, it's kind of shitty to say, but he probably does got a doctor that's done all professional wrestlers and knows that MJF is somebody who needs to perform at peak performance, and he probably fucking has to have whatever the fuck it is,
Yeah, and I mean it's sounding, at least like by all accounts, at least from what we know so far, it doesn't sound like it's a full tear or anything like that, because he does still want to work World's End, and it seems like, and we'll see what happens on Dynamite and to see how they build towards this. But there are multiple challenges gunning for MJF right now. I mean, Wardlow, Samoa Joe. I mean, regardless of whether, and I know that Chris doesn't necessarily think that Wardlow should be in that spot right now, and that's fine. But I mean, I'm just saying that for the sake of, it seems like there's a likelihood that this is going to be a multi-person match at World's End, which could be a blessing and a curse, because I mean, there's a lot less that he would have to do spot-wise, but at the same time, more people involved in the match, I think, invites more risk, and you can certainly tell us whether that might be true or not, Bob. But the fact that he kind of wants to work through it. Chris has his theory as far as wanting to try to cut down on the injury time that may be added to a contract, but just seriously hoping for a speedy recovery, because at this point, MJF, this was supposed to be the year that he proved himself to get himself ready for the bidding war of 2024, which either may or may not be happening at this point. We don't know if he's re-signed, but I mean, he's definitely toned down the WWE references in his promos as of late. So I don't know, but it is it's a tough blow to end the year for AEW, given everything that has kind of just happened, as a whole. For every great show or great match, there's been just as many headlines that are negative.
And like, as of right now, it's Samoa Joe and MJF at World's End 1-on-1. So obviously they can add to that, and I think that might be what the pivot is maybe to add to that. But as of right now, it's a 1-on-1 match, so I guess we will see. It'll be interesting to see like his working style. Like, does he change what he does in the ring, or are we going to see less of kind of the babyface MJF that we've gotten, where he's taking those high risk maneuvers, or is he going to kind of go back to the heelish MJF, where it's a little bit more slow paced and not as many flashy moves? So we'll see. My theory on the contract is I'm pretty sure AEW's contracts freeze if you get injured, and that time is just added on until you come back. So I want to say that's what happened with Kenny Omega. I want to say that's why the Young Bucks worked, and I think it was Matt Jackson that worked through his injury to get that be able to re-sign and get a new deal. So I think that's also playing into it. If this bidding war is something real, which I don't think it is, I think he's already re-signed with AEW with kind of how he's baby facing AEW the last couple months. Whether that's a character or whether that's just him, like in his tweet when he sent it that was deleted, he said, "I believe in AEW." So I think that's I don't think he put that on there by mistake. So I think he has re-signed.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting to see, especially kind of going into this essentially new era of professional wrestling. I mean, 24 is going to be a big deal when it comes to talent contracts, but it's also looking like this is the start of AEW also getting into the monthly premium pay per view event game because, quite frankly, money talks and bullshit walks. There's a little rumor floating out there that some of the front runners for the rights to Raw, Warner Brothers Discovery is at the top of that list behind Fox and Amazon. How much truth there is to that, remains to be seen. But it does truly feel like we are in this. This race to just secure talent and try to add depth to those rosters. So I mean it'll be a fun month to this build. Realistically, is there anything else as far as this World's End card that you may have heard about, Choops or Bob, that you might be excited about or anything? I mean it's been a pretty WWE dominated headline over the last few days, so I'm kind of just catching up on everything.
I will say about what you were saying earlier. If he is a little bit injured, a 4-way definitely is easier. Unless you're just doing crazy fucking shit,
Yeah.
You're just not being physically touched the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
So, like going into a match like that, like say you are a little bit dinged up, how does that change your style? Like, how does that change your mindset going into a match?
The hardest thing, they say if you can walk, you can work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Push through like certain stuff. I'm trying to think of how it does change because I mean, honestly, the thing that did happen to my knee a long time ago changed my style like entirely. Like I can't depend on, it's still kind of the same, but I just can't depend on whatever. I gotta just depend on my body less and depend on my like self more. I don't know how much sense that makes. Like I'm still trying to get into better shape or whatever and do cool stuff, but like I can't depend on having like doing like the springy thing and like making sure my ankle's not twisted, my knees not wobbly, my fucking thighs. I didn't do fucking legs that day. You know what I mean? It's just it changes the way you look. Then there is things you can do without that. Yeah, even just a multi-man thing is a lot easier with a lot of people. Changing your style for matches is just like not doing running spots, not doing leapfrogs. If it's not doing a lot of picking up if it's your shoulders or whatever. I don't do a lot of picking up with people, so most of the time if my shoulders are good, most of the time if my legs are good, then like it's whatever. I won't like I won't push up off of some shit if my arm fucked up, but you just got to figure out what's working on you and try to lean into that. But I think in wrestling, especially with big matches and opportunities, you should lean into the shit you can do regardless anyways, because people like wrestling regardless of how much cool shit you do.
Yeah. I think another aspect of this too is, what do they do with the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions? Like it's still technically on MJF and Adam Cole, and now both are injured or hurt or not. Like that's another aspect to this whole thing that I think a lot of people are not thinking about. Like they already have that tournament for the television title. The Ring of Honor World title is in the.
If they announce another tournament, I swear, that is one thing that I think that they need to do better in 2024 is just, I don't mind tournaments. I enjoy a good tournament. However, when you're having one every few months and then there is no follow up with it, like, Willow and Ricky Starks both won the Owen Hart tournaments this year. It was a big deal for about a week after that, and then we kind of forget that it happened. Like even on commentary, just to remind us, like, hey, they did something pretty awesome here earlier this year. That would be enough as well. It's just, what's the point of getting us invested if there's not going to be anything to talk about it, down the line. It's just, I don't know.
That's fair.
But
that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what
what
happens with MJF.
You know what this really does, though?
Speedy recovery.
And you and I have talked about it. This is the chance for them to put the title on Swerve. I mean, Swerve has been,
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
The MVP of AEW this year, and please put the title on Swerve. I think he has earned it. I think he's proved himself, and he is ready for that role to carry that company.
You know who else agrees with that?
Who's that?
Swerve Strickland.
Yes.
So he is the next guest on Insight with Chris Van Vliet this week, and he's already Babe Ruth calling a shot. He wants to be the first Black AEW champion. I mean, it seems like from the clip that I saw that was probably recorded during the week of that go home to Full Gear, I think, with that final promo that he had with Hangman. But the crowd's invested. The crowd's invested in him, and dude, that match only. I mean, it's very rare that one match like that catapults you into this higher echelon status, and very few people get the chance to capture lightning in a bottle like that. Even though it was beautifully horrific, I think that because we watched it together, I think that we can both agree that we were witnessing something special in that moment, right?
Yeah, something I've never seen. I don't know if you've got to watch the match entirely, Bob, but what are your thoughts on that whole match and Swerve, like, just as his year has gone by, and what do you think about him being AEW champion moving forward?
No, I agree. I haven't seen it all, but I think it's all great, and I think you're right. He should be the next champ. He's doing badass shit, and I think they have a chance to capitalize on like a homegrown talent. And Swerve is the man. He's been the man for a while, so yeah, I think they should do that shit.
And finally, give me that payoff with Keith Lee, please.
Dude, right.
Please, can you just finally give me the payoff?
I need that.
It's never happened. I've been waiting. Keith Lee cut a promo on Collision, apparently, saying he's waiting for that revenge. I'm going to assume that's Swerve. Can you just please give me that match? Because that would be a great headline title match, and I think they would put on a fantastic match. And Swerve would put on some great promos to help build that match.
Yeah. Isn't Keith Lee in the Continental Classic? I know Swerve is. He's taking on Jay White tonight.
No, Keith Lee is not.
Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate.
I don't know what Keith Lee's doing. That's the problem.
It's fair. It's also super unfortunate that Jay White has to face Swerve Strickland.
I really am excited to see that match, though.
I mean, it's great. Like, under any other circumstances, I would be excited for that match. But Jay White literally couldn't beat a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest a week ago. And now, all of a sudden, he's in a tournament that will see him, if he wins it, basically win one title to be defended in AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan. And I'm supposed to buy into that. Help me. Look, you're a dad. You're already learning how to explain things to children. Talk to me like I'm 6. Like, how do I make it make sense?
To be fair, I have to do that every day on this show, but
dude, what?
But no, it's I think Jay White would be a good one because he has the New Japan ties. Like, the New Japan crowd would be familiar with Jay White. He'd get to travel over there again. I don't know. Like, this tournament is just kind of weird. We'll see what happens. Like, that's what we always say. Let's wait and see. But I don't think they need another title. Like, why do you need another champion?
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to ask this. I'm going to pass this on to you, Bob. I mean, you being an active wrestler, you wrestle every weekend. You've just said it. When you do get a chance to watch, WWE or AEW, how is it that you take in the product if you get a few minutes to sit down and watch? Just, for those that may not have any insight if they don't wrestle.
That's a good question.
I was going to say, that's why he's the host. He's a good one.
I do get. I'm entertained by it,
Yeah.
but most of the time it's like to learn something or to like take
Mm-hmm.
something in. That's a perspective that keeps me, because it's easy to get like um, a critical perspective when you're a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I try to find whatever ways I can to keep it just like fun and positive or whatever. I really like to just sit back and enjoy a pay per view.
Okay.
Just watch the packages and have fun because I'm not watching it like every week most of the time.
Mhm.
So, and those
Yeah.
are my favorite like type of matches is like pay per view matches. Those are like what everybody wants. Those are good long matches, that aren't
Yeah.
don't even need to necessarily be on TV every day. And I'm kind of mostly talking about WWE pay per views.
Okay. Did
But
you get a chance to see Survivor Series?
no,
No,
I,
not yet.
wait. I think I saw some of it. What was the matches? I'm exposing
Had
myself to
the men's and
nothing.
women's war
Say
games.
it again.
That's all good. They had the war games matches.
What was it? What was a good? I think I watched a couple singles matches. What was a couple of singles matches?
Gunther, Miz, Dragon Lee, and Santos Escobar, and then Rhea Ripley, Zoe Stark for the women's world title. And then Judgment Day had their own War Games match. And then on the women's side, Bianca Belair captained the team against Damage
Yeah, so I
Control.
did watch a couple of matches. I watched the Gunther match. I really liked it, and that was the thing I wanted to like. Okay, let's see what the fuck Gunther and the Miz are gonna do.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I guess I only actually watched that one, but I do want to see Santos and Dragon Lee. I bet that shit was wild.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was that, and I'm glad that I'm glad that you mentioned that one. I just want to segue into this just because we're talking about Big A to get to share the ring with Fuego del Sol. Tell us all about it, man.
Ah, man, that shit was cool. That shit was cool. I didn't know how. I mean, I guess WrestleCade's always big, but I didn't know how big it was gonna be with GCW being its own show. But that shit was nuts. Yeah, I just fucking pulled up on him and we were figuring out what we were gonna do. Ended up being on team with Fuego Sol and his guys and a couple other GCW guys that are coming up. That's always a huge. I always love that shit, man. Uh, I'm just super duper grateful for those opportunities to get in front of those big crowds and be in front of be a part of this gigantic promotion, not only in the United States but in Mexico. It's just cool. Had a little fun 10-man. Got some cool moves in. Got stomped Shane Mercer. So it was cool.
Oh yeah, we love to hear it. I mean, that's and especially GCW, carving the name that they have for themselves in the Indies. It's cool to see people that get opportunities to work those shows because, I mean, in almost a true ECW fashion, they do get a little bit of everything on those shows. I mean, you want great technical wrestling. You're going to get that. You want great lucha libre. You're going to want a death minute. That's one promotion that I've really enjoyed. Watching just and definitely having next to no build or any insight of what it is I'm going to see. Every once in a while, I just love throwing on a GCW show and just seeing what I'm going to get and just reacting to it.
Dude, it's always gonna be wild. That the insane clown posse shit was wild. It was crazy to watch. Yeah, they're all just always doing good shit like that, and they're rewarding people for like being loyal and showing up and shit like that. So it's cool.
Love that. Love that. Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chips, give me something to talk about.
I was just going to ask Bob what else he's got going on in the next couple months.
Oh,
Anything
great
on the
question.
horizon that you
Yeah.
want to promote, and where can we see you here in the next few months?
I'm about to go to Guatemala
Oh,
Love it.
Guatemala in January, and then I'm going to Costa Rica probably in March or after Mania, or both.
nice. So how does that get set up? Like how do those international tours get set up for you?
Dude, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna wrestle on this one. Man, there is other. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. The guy I toured with last time, he's in South America right now.
Mhm.
Ariel Von Gogh. Yeah, he's just got these connections that he set up, and I'm starting to slowly but surely get him too. I might actually get a show in Guatemala, but for me, I'm just fucking finding places on kayak and learning about what places are expensive or not expensive, and uh, you know, to get, fun to be at and just like badass locations. I'm going to a place called Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. That's like just like a volcano exploded and it's a big hole and then eventually just filled up with fucking water and it's just like surrounded by volcanoes.
Gee.
Crazy little Guatemalan
Jeez.
city. So I'm gonna go spend a couple days out there.
Nice.
And I did talk to one company that's running in whatever the fuck this month is, December. But they're like super duper death matchy. But they did say they do some regular matches, and if they do something in January, we'll try to work some shit out. Uh, and then in Costa Rica, I went there last year with a guy, and he rented an Airbnb. He stayed a lot longer than I did last time in Costa Rica. And he rented an Airbnb from a guy, and he got to know him. And then, so basically, he's gonna house sit for a couple months, and I'm gonna go help him out with that shit.
Nice.
But other than that, dude,
Oh yeah.
I'm putting all that shit into my YouTube page. That's what I'm really putting a lot of energy into right now. Like I'm doing GCW and action wrestling and shit like that. I think I'll do either the Christmas or the New Year's GCW show and then some other shit. But yeah, I'm really just putting a lot into my YouTube right now. That's why I'm going to Guatemala. That's the main reason I'm going to Guatemala is to keep momentum going with my YouTube because I got a lot when I was in Tijuana. And I get a little bit every city I go, but I can get a lot of shit for YouTube on Guatemala. So that's the main thing I'm trying to get done.
Nice. And the
Man, I love that.
one more thing as we're kind of wrapping up here, I have to ask because last time you told us some crazy things that you ate in some of these other countries. Is there anything that you've researched or anything crazy that you think's coming up on these trips?
Food wise,
Yeah.
I did see it. I did see a dish that I liked on like a documentary. It's like just like a beef stew type shit with like vegetables and rice and shit like that. It's like one of my favorite plates at the place I work right now. It's just like this. It's like a chicken stew with like vegetables and rice. But bro, I'm not. I got the worst food answers, bro.
No, the last time you were on, I think
That's all right, dude.
what was it? Was
you had some?
it a hamster or a guinea pig or something that we talked about?
Yes, yeah. Said Argentinians have some great pizza too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we learned a bit from you, bud.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I guess I haven't done enough research then yet. Nah. We'll see, dude. It's Guatemala, so it's very. It's like there's tacos and shit there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Real close to Mexico. It's actually very, very native. Their population's like half native,
Okay.
so they that they influence the food a lot. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Love that. Love that. Well, yeah, as Chris said, we're about at the end of our time here. Like I said, we wanted to spend some time talking some AEW. I think I've got just kind of two quick things I want to ask about when it comes to NXT, brother, because oh yeah, that's right, because there's one that you did not see.
I did not.
Andre Chase has been at the center of some quote unquote illegal activity on NXT. There was a press conference where Chase U addressed the media. Andre Chase has admitted in this press conference that he had been responsible in allowing university funds to be gambled, landing the school in significant debt. So, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're doing a very, very cheesy NCAA investigation for gambling and other things that just in the world of professional wrestling are recreational. So, Troops, your thoughts?
Okay.
Great.
They could have. That's whatever. That's
yeah.
That's,
it was.
whatever.
It was super disappointing.
Hopefully that's not the end of it.
Just
maybe it's something else. I don't know, but that's kind of weak.
I I'm not gonna get my hopes up on it. It is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Lexus King, there's some footage that dropped that looks like he might have entered the same room that Trick Williams was attacked moments before it happened. The only detail that people are not paying attention to is that Lexus King was on his phone texting before he actually decided to put his phone away and go follow him into the room. Does not entirely clear Carmelo Hayes from being the attacker, but
and the other thing too is we didn't see him attack him.
We didn't.
That's the most obvious
You're
thing.
absolutely right. I know that, buddy. I'm a criminal defense lawyer.
Here we go.
I get that.
Here we go.
What? How often do I mention that on this show?
Here we go.
Okay, you better be nice to Tully tomorrow, all right?
No body, no case.
Yeah,
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite, but it definitely helps.
it definitely helps. Good to know.
Who died, man? Who died? Tell me who died.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Bob, as always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Don't be a stranger, my guy. Keep up the good work. Again, we love seeing you just all over the fucking place. It's just, it's kind of a Where's Waldo type thing for us. So we definitely enjoy it. Again, as always, you're always welcome on this show. Podcast Dad, final words, take us out.
Yeah, Bob, I want to know what you ate down there. So we'll have you on after your excursion, and I want some good food stories.
We'll let you know, man. You hit my YouTube, Bobby Flaco, Hostile Bob. Both those words, if you type it in, it'll come up. But yeah, that's where we're putting everything up. A couple of videos a day, all the countries I've been to, and we'll start with the Guatemala shit here soon.
Nice, awesome.
Hell yeah. Love it. Bob, thanks as always for joining us. Choops, kind of okay to see you. Remember, hit that QR code in the top left screen. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help us to drive those numbers up. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon. Oh, yeah.
Shirts.
Shirts. DM us if you want a shirt. Seriously, I mean, come on. They're comfortable. They've got our logo. They're easy breezy. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
There we go.
Easy
Buy
breezy.
this shirt. The holidays are coming up. They make great stocking stuffers. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks, dude.